Hey, what's up, guys? We are back with another Reddit Ask Me Anything or Reddit interview for the BKFC. So tonight's guest is Chris Camozzi. yeah, yeah.
How you doing?
I'm cheap. I don't have the sound effects yet. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm glad we got to make this work. I know we were talking about you having a podcast forever.
Yeah,
I'm glad you went and did it on your own because, yeah, I mean, I've watched your other ones and they're great.
yeah.
Keep running
Thanks,
with
man.
it.
Thanks. So it's weird because every time I introduce somebody, they have a cool nickname, and you have Chris Camozzi. Like, what the hell? You have no nickname. So, like, when are we gonna change that?
I don't know. I mean, I talked about that recently with, do you remember Luke Cadillo? He's
Yeah.
fighting UFC.
Yep.
Now he's big in hunting and stuff. I was on his podcast up in the mountains not too long ago. And he said the same thing. He's like, you've been doing this so long, you don't have a nickname. I'm like, you can't give yourself a nickname.
No, that's true.
And two, I don't know. My last name is pretty unique, so I've just always gone by that forever.
Well, it's weird because sometimes I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I was talking to Camo," and they're like, "Who the hell's Camo?" And I was like, Camozzi, but you have the crocodile on your arm, so I figure we'll take you down, we'll go catch some crocodiles and alligators, and then it could be like Chris the Crocodile Camozzi or something. We'll see.
Or like Crocodile Dundee,
Yeah, Crocodile Camozzi.
Maybe something other than Dundee.
Yeah. Cool, man. All right, so you're looking good. I saw a photo of you the other day online, and you had a big cut right in the middle of your forehead and a whole bunch of stitches, and magically that just disappeared. What happened?
I heal like Wolverine, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, that picture he used, it's funny. That was from, I fought in Russia back in maybe 2018, somewhere in there.
Holy
and I took
smokes.
a knee. I took a flying knee to the head, and it cut me pretty big. But yeah, that definitely wasn't from the fight from Lorenzo. I wasn't too banged up. I went to a wedding the next day. Whitney and I flew to Idaho at I think we left at like 6 a.m. the next morning after the fight. So I wasn't that banged up, got on the flight, went to the wedding, and I'll send you some wedding pictures after where you can see, hey, I had a little bit of like a black eye, and
Right.
I had gotten I think 2 stitches or 3 stitches up here, and then a couple on the top of my head, and that was about it.
So I saw the funniest video. It was Whitney taking your stitches out. Like, I didn't realize that she had such a weak stomach. That was absolutely hysterical.
Yeah, blood really grosses her out, things like that. The best part about that video is like people were wondering if, he planned it, staged it, it was acting. It was 100% real. I didn't tell her that I was even going to make a video out of it. I told her, I let her cut the last one out of my eye here. So I was like, let me show you how to do this. So, cutting them.
Yeah.
And then I set up my camera, and I was like, I'm going to videotape this because I feel like it's going to be funny. And then afterwards, like watching it, I was like, this is definitely worth like a post, because her gagging and being disgusted was all 100% real. She talks about how she wanted to be a veterinarian when she was a kid. And then they did like a, shadow a person at work day when she was in elementary school, and she fainted in the veterinary clinic because they had to do some kind of surgery. And I guess she passed out and woke up in one of the rooms because she had fainted, and the veterinarian carried her in there. And they, when she woke up and she was like, where am I? She said that that's when she realized that being a veterinarian is not for her.
Well, we'll let her, when you go down to the gator farm, we'll let her doctor up some alligators, so she'll see if she likes it then too. So I'm going to ask you a couple of the Reddit questions. Some of the guys submitted questions. First one is they want to know what you walk around at. You fight at 205. What do you walk around at?
About 220, 225. I don't get much more than that. I don't try to, but I also just, with how I eat year round and stuff, I don't put on a ton of weight. The funny thing is I've always kind of walked around at that weight. And before I was cutting to 185. So for me, you could call it a cut to 205, but I can just diet down. This last time I did get in the sauna, I was like 4 pounds over the morning of weigh-ins. And I did 2 or 3 like 15-minute sits in the sauna, and I'd cut too much weight. I weighed in at like 203.4 or something.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
So it's pretty easy for me. 205 is real easy. I don't even look at the scale almost until a fight week.
Okay, another person wants to know it seems like they're trying to send Britton Hart over to Thailand to fight international. Like, is that something you want to do? Would you rather fight over, BKFC's going to Bulgaria, they're going to the UK, they're going to Thailand. Like, which of those places sounds like someplace you'd like to go fight?
All of them. Man,
All of them.
So That is like, that was one thing like some people used to say when we were talking about nicknames, be like Road Warrior, because when I was in the UFC, I used to throw my hand up every time for like international cards. Now that was when I was younger, so I got to do a little bit more research on where due to tax rates
Okay.
or like how the payment is made, because I found out the hard way in the UFC, fighting in Brazil and Australia and stuff, they tax you 30% right off the top or right before you even get paid.
Okay.
So tax rates do matter. That's why watching the UFC and stuff, you'll see a lot of guys not want to fight in New York or California. They only want to fight in Vegas. And there's reasons for that.
Yeah.
But for me, if I can make money, get to fight and travel, that's a no-brainer for me. Traveling is my second favorite thing to do besides fighting.
So this is my question for you. You fought 3 times in Denver, and like you just said, you fought all over the world. Are you wanting BKFC to like showcase you in another state, or are you kind of just happy like fighting in Denver? Or
I mean, it depends on the state. I do love fighting at home because every single time the place is massive and they erupt. And I've got a really good following here in Denver, and it's cool to have my family and friends, and they don't have to spend a ton of money to go travel and watch me fight.
sure.
But at the same time, yeah, I love traveling. If I haven't been there before, then I definitely want to go. I want to see the whole world. So yeah, I mean, it's a give and take, there's less stuff to deal with if I'm not at home, as far as like tickets and, making sure everybody's set up and this and that. But I mean, I don't mind it at all. I love fighting at home, but yeah, if I get to see more of the world, I'm in. Now, if you want to go to, I don't want to call out any states or cities or anything, but there's certain places I'm like, I could do without it.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, somebody said that you looked extra focused mentally this fight time going into the fight, like, and I could tell on your face, like you just look like like focused and mentally prepared. Like, what can you attribute that to?
Man, I didn't do a lot of things different training wise for the fight. Obviously we adjusted based on who I'm fighting and stuff like that. But leading up to that, I did, which I've started the last few fights though, is like a lot of like mental training, visualization, meditation, all these things where, it's positive. What am I looking for? Positive affirmations, things like that. Whitney has me do like a writing routine, leading up to fights, which I really like. I don't know if she came up with it or not. She's done it forever, and it's really cool. It helps clear your mind and just like really focus on like one task, because I'm pretty ADD. My brain bounces all over the place. When I lay in bed at night, it's like fireworks, like But for that case, like that writing and stuff really helps me. Like, what are the goals? What's the focus? This and that, and something about writing it out in the morning and then starting your day helps you like dial in.
So you started keeping like a journal, basically. Do you like go back and read that, or is like you write it and you kind of put it away and you forget about it, or?
I write it and rip it up and throw it away.
Okay, interesting.
Something about putting it out.
Yeah. Okay, so I was asking a whole bunch of people, and I say a whole bunch. I reached out to several people for like questions for you, and the one thing that shocked me was a bunch of them were like, "Oh, I don't have anything like I want to like no inside story." They're just like, "Oh, just tell them I said hi." But there was one person that gave me a question to ask you. You might know him. His name is Spec Operator, and he said Crow wants to know how your nuts are healing after being bit by his titanium teeth.
Oh man, yeah. So I posted a picture, but I didn't tell anybody what the blood was from.
It looks scary.
Yeah, we just went to San Diego, and Spec Operator is Andrew Arabito, who owns Half Face Blades, and they've sponsored me, through BKFC and stuff, and I've gotten to know him, and we've become good friends. And he had Whitney and I out to his house because we flew out there to go see Bellator, and he has this amazing house, amazing property. He has a cool ass dog named Crow. And we came home after it was the night before the fights, before we went to Bellator. We went to dinner with Grant Neal and all his people, and we came home a little drunk. We had drinks and stuff. We went out. We come home, and his dog like chatters his teeth, which is kind of like a Malinois thing, I think. So when he's excited, he's running around doing this. Well, he happened to like run straight up to me when we walked in the door and bit one of my nuts, like through my jeans. And we were all like, well, they were laughing, and I was kind of like, oh God, like what the hell? And he's like, did he get you? Did he get you? And I like put my hand down my pants. I pulled my hand out, and there was like blood all over him. So he nipped me a little bit, and it definitely scabbed up, and it definitely hurt up until I'm good now.
Yeah.
Let's say about 2 days ago, it was fully healed. He
Why does
didn't
this
mean
dog
to.
have
He was like,
titanium teeth?
so yeah.
I mean, they're legit titanium teeth. They're like silver cap. Like I saw the picture of them. They're crazy looking.
Navy SEAL, like a really well-known Navy SEAL, and he owns Half-Face Blades, and they do a lot of like foraging and everything. Well, I guess one trip or something, I can't remember exactly what he said. His dog had like broken a tooth or something, or two, out in the woods, like came back with busted teeth. So Andrew capped him with metal. So I was like, your dog has a silver grill, and his teeth have like tridents, like the Navy SEAL trident on them.
Yeah,
he's got
they're
Half-Face
scary looking.
Blades, the logo. Yeah, and then like just he has a grill.
Yeah.
And those things, you can hear him. I don't know if it's due to like, I don't know if his regular teeth did that or not, but we'd be at the pool at the house, and you'd hear the dog would get excited, and you'd hear like his teeth chatter.
It reminds me of like when you go hog hunting, you'll hear like the hogs sharpening their teeth when they're getting ready to, like to sit there, pop their teeth. It sounds like they're sharp. Yeah. Anyway, it just looked terrifying. And like I said, it was awesome that he submitted that question. I thought that was great.
Yeah. And I have to specify the dog is a trained guard dog, but very friendly. I mean, like he was sitting on my lap, like he didn't mean to do it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he like came at me. He just like, he was chattering and he was excited. I think he might even had a ball in his mouth besides mine. And like, got me.
Yeah.
And he knew nothing about it. He was still running all around the house, excited we had just come home.
That is an awesome story. So Chris Camozzi, what's next? Like, what are you going to do? Like, Lorenzo Hunt says he doesn't want to fight you. Like, the number one contender right now, Quentin Henry, you haven't seen him for a couple years, it feels like. You got Houston Alexander out there in Nebraska. He doesn't fight outside Nebraska. So I don't, there's really no upside to fighting him. And he beat Jeremy. And, I don't, like, what are you going to do?
Good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. Feldman and I haven't had a chance to talk yet. And I don't really know what the game plan is. Obviously I still want the belt, right?
Sure.
I was thinking split decision. I said, let's run it back in Jacksonville. Like, because who else is Lorenzo going to fight, right? At least in this division. I know he wants to go to heavyweight, but in this division, he's beat everybody. Houston has stated he's not interested in the title. So everybody else he's beaten.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, everybody else he didn't just beat, he knocked out. Me, split decisions, can be, you can argue it either way. Whether you think I won or lost, it's a split decision. So I was like, let's run it back. I started with, I'll go to Jacksonville. I'll go to his hometown.
Sure.
Then he can fight at home, defend his belt, have all his friends, family, everything there. And I didn't hear much on that. And I just got to thinking about let's go somewhere else if you want to really find out, right?
Yeah.
If you think you're that bad, nobody wants to fight you. He always says nobody wants to fight him. I mean, I asked to fight him the entire time. I'm still asking because, again, those pictures, I didn't take a ton of damage. Did he land good shots? For sure. Did he fight a good fight? Yeah, like I'm not discrediting his performance at all. There's a lot of things he did that I had not planned for and didn't expect because he completely changed,
Absolute 180 from every time that we've seen him prior, yeah.
Yeah, and good on him, I mean, that was a smart move, so no disrespect there. But for me, I'm like, who else is there to fight, I want to fight people that make sense, that get me paid, that also get me back to that title shot or the title shot again, because at the end of the day, if he does go to heavyweight and say he does end up with the heavyweight belt, that's 3 divisions that are held up,
Sure.
And that's really cool. I understand that he wants to, sorry, I'm pulling something off me, have a legacy like that. But
yeah,
promotional wise, that freezes a ton of stuff. And there's nobody else that I'd rather fight for that belt than him. I'm not saying like make him vacate it because
yeah,
I want to beat the champion. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where we go from here, honestly, because I want fights that excite me, but I also want fights that make sense.
Absolutely. No, and like I said, I thought it made a lot of sense. Like, look, he clearly has dominated. You know, prior to your fight, he ran through everybody, minus Gus, who he lost to, of course. But yeah, he's dominated. So I was completely. I think you let him go to heavyweight. Give him his one thing. He's done a lot for a promotion. Let him go ahead and do that, and maybe give you a filler fight. And if you win that, and he doesn't. I mean, like if you got to fight Ben Rothwell or Arnold Adams, like both those dudes are studs. You know what I mean? And that he'd be going up quite a bit of weight. So I don't know. I don't know if he wins those. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. But if he doesn't, then you guys run it back. Give you guys each one more fight and then run it back. I thought trying to get you guys like on the Knucklemania card or something would be fantastic because clearly there's bad blood there. So I don't know. Like to me that makes sense, but we'll see what BKFC ends up doing. But
yeah, I mean, here's the thing too: is like I even told Dave this. I was like, okay, he won on the cards, but he's posting like he lost. Like why is it? It's constantly at me. So yeah, of course I respond.
Yeah.
He's not acting like he won.
Yeah.
So that leaves it open to me. And that's why let him keep running with it because all he's doing is one, promoting me. And two, he's showing everybody that he doesn't confidently feel like he won that fight. At least, or he didn't win the way he wanted to. So I'll give you a second shot. You're not going to knock me out. I mean, he hit me with everything he had. I realized from that point, there's no way I'm getting knocked out. He's not the hardest hitter I've ever fought. I learned a lot in that. And, it is on me to fighting again, then I need to do better. I need to do more. I need to just zone it all in. And yeah, I mean, that's my realistic take on it is at the end of the day, what's the promotional plan? I don't know. Maybe they have it mapped out in some war room and I don't know what it is, but him bouncing 3 weight classes doesn't make sense to me.
Absolutely. All right, enough about Lorenzo Hunt. So, do you have any superstitions or rituals? Like, I'm a very superstitious person. Whenever I go play with alligators, I always paint my toes black. The reason I do that, when I first started playing with alligators, I used to do it barefoot. And an alligator, like, you'd be in these ponds, and an alligator would bump into you. And if it bumps into you, you're supposed to stand still like a tree and don't move. So you do that. And I noticed like alligators would see my toes and they would turn and they would try to start biting their toes. And I'd like have to like try to bury my feet in the mud and stuff like that. So I started painting my toes. So ever since I started doing that, like I always wear black toenail polish whenever I go play with alligators. So
I'm trying to think I have like somewhat of a routine, but I wouldn't say it's a superstition or anything. It's just like things that I naturally do. I guess the weirdest, or it's not even weird, but the thing that I seem to always do, and I don't know why, it started a really long time ago in my career, is kind of once I finish my warm up and I'm ready to go, there's that point when you're warming up and then like, all right, let's bring it down now, bring your heart rate down, everything.
Yeah.
I've always walked like counterclockwise around the room.
Okay.
I don't know why it's counterclockwise. It feels weird to walk the other way. But that's about it. And that's just like, I'm fully focused. My coaches and everybody know, just like, leave me alone. Everything's done. And I just pace because I can't just sit there and then wait for my turn to go.
Yeah.
So it's always just been counterclockwise. And I have no idea why.
So when you're on the phone, do you pace? When I'm on the phone, like I feel like I wear out my like living room and kitchen. I'm all over the place when walking when I'm on the phone. I'm always pacing.
I do, but not in a specific like counterclockwise.
You don't go counterclockwise the whole time?
Yeah. I mean, I'll just be wandering all over here, but I don't know why it's counterclockwise or anything. It's just like a subconscious thing, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So I know you're into hunting. Like, when was the last time you went hunting? Like, you plan on doing any hunting this year since you don't have a fight anytime soon, or like, what's your plans?
I don't know if I'll get out doing any big game hunting myself. We'll see. I did go dove hunting a couple weeks ago. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks before the fight. I went just for a couple hours. Luckily, I have some friends that have some property around and stuff, but I definitely have some pheasant hunts planned.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Bird hunting for sure. Big game, I don't know. I might go play spotter next week or something on a bear hunt for a buddy of mine, but
that'd be cool.
It'll be short trips.
Sure.
I would like to.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm looking forward to where like now is deer season, so me and my son we both have tags, so like excited to do that, and then next year we're gonna get a bear tag, so that'll be cool.
Nice. Yeah,
You
that'd be awesome.
go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I've never been bear hunting. Actually, that's why my buddy who still has an open tag um, rifles coming up, and so I was like, well, hey, they're gonna be like day trips because it's not very far from where we are. I was
Okay.
like, I'll come out with you and spot for you and this and that, and just have fun like hiking
Yeah,
if you want. So I might end up doing that.
that'd be cool. You do any fishing or anything? What outdoor stuff do you do?
Not a ton of fishing. I do like fishing, like ocean fishing and stuff, but
Sure.
not on the regular basis. No, but I mean, I will. I'm not against.
Yeah.
I grew up doing it. It's just for me. I don't know, the excitement. Hunting for me is fun because you can get out there. You're creeping around the woods. You're outside. It's nice. Or even if it's cold, it's still fun with your buddies.
Yeah.
Fishing, I've veered away from a little bit, but I'll still do it. I don't hate it.
Yeah, the next time in Colorado, we got to go bow fishing down at the gator farm. It's basically hunting, and then you feed them to the alligators. It's fantastic. It's so much fun.
So bow fishing is something I've never done, but I'm all about it. I've seen it, and like that kind of stuff is fun. To me, just sitting there, it's relaxing and stuff, but I don't like plan
boring
for it and go out of my way to do it.
Right. All right, so BKFC just announced some huge fight today. I'd like to get your take on it. So Mike Perry versus Eddie Bravo. What do you think about that fight?
Eddie Bravo.
Eddie Bravo.
I like it. I'm glad they put it together. Who is? I know we talked off camera, but I didn't realize that Perry wasn't the champion. Honestly, yeah. I mean, I like it. What are your thoughts on it first? Because I can tell you why I like it.
So Mike Perry fights at 175. Eddie Bravo, like his last fight was at 165, but he's usually like a 55 pounder. So I don't know. He's coming up quite a bit. He's crazy good though. I mean, Eddie Bravo is fantastic. Dave Mundell is a champion at 175 right now. So I don't know. I know Dave Mundell would love to fight Mike Perry again because they've fought previous. I don't remember who won, but I know they have fought previous in MMA. So I know they're wanting to do it again. I don't like. It's going to be a war. Like I don't think you watched the thing today. So Eddie and Perry were talking, and they were joking, and then all of a sudden you see like this look of hatred come across like Mike Perry's face, and you could tell he started getting so serious about that fight. And you're like, oh shit! I mean, he's a scary dude.
Yeah, I think I like that fight because they're both dogs, right?
Sure.
Both have a proven track record of being able to give it and take it. Now you could say it's gonna like kill one stardom, but I don't think it does because both of them have built their names up over the years on stuff. And two, like I don't know about Mike Perry, but like how much longer is Eddie Alvarez gonna be around?
Sure.
He's been fighting forever. I'm trying to think of how long he's been fighting. I feel like I remember watching him fight in Dream or Pride, even when I was like a young pro. So he's been in. I mean, I'm on 18 years now, so Eddie's been in there for a minute. But so yeah, I mean, you got to strike while it's there because who knows? This could be Eddie's last one.
Sure.
Or maybe one more. So they've got to monetize on that. But in the end, it's a fan-friendly fight, and I think that's what's really cool about BKFC is that it doesn't always have to make like sense or be for a title or whatever. You put on these fights that people are like, oh my God, those guys are fighting. Like,
yeah.
It's perfect. It's perfect for the fans.
Sure. All right. Two guys that I know that you know both, Ben Rothwell versus Todd Duffy.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we've seen Rothwell do very, very well. I haven't seen, so I know Todd Duffy, him and I just spoke the other day, but I haven't watched him fight it's been a bit. I know he's been fighting in other circuits and stuff, and
sure.
I don't catch all those. So I don't really know. He seems real confident about it. I guess he was telling me they've shared mutual like sparring partners, training partners and stuff. So talking to Todd, he has a good mind for it. I didn't realize that he hadn't fought bare knuckle before.
Yeah.
But I think that he has a really good mind for it. All the stuff he was telling me about training and what he's going to do and this and that. So I don't know what he's weighing either. I guess I didn't ask all the hard questions.
Yeah.
But one thing about Rothwell is his size is massive. He's not at that 265 limit anymore like the UFC.
Yeah.
He gets to come in at whatever he's walking at, which I assume is in the 280s.
Right. And that's what I think he got. I think he said he got down to like 285 for his last one.
That's a big man to stay away from. So
yeah,
I'll be interested to see how big Todd is. but I like the fight. I mean, Todd's always had explosive power. He's had that knockout power, and Rothwell's shown for a long time too that he does. So it's going to be super interesting. I think that fight comes down to like clinch work and stuff.
Sure.
Because that's been a big part of Rothwell's game. When he fought my teammate Copeland was doing really well, but then it got closer and closer and closer, and Rothwell was able to like lean his weight on him and just dirty box. And that sucked the life out of Copeland, you know? At least I didn't ask him about it, but to me, Copeland has good cardio. But when you're carrying somebody that much bigger and that much weight,
right,
it's exhausting no matter how good your cardio is.
Yeah. All right. So then we got Arnold Adams versus Mick Terrell for the vacant heavyweight championship, and they have fought before, and Arnold Adams beat Mick Terrell. Mick Terrell won a fight over in England, and they said whoever won that fight was going to get a shot at the belt. So what do you think about that one?
And that one's for
heavyweight.
That's for the title?
Yeah.
Which is vacant, right?
Yeah, because they stripped it from Belcher. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I know Arnold Adams a little bit. I watched him fight because Belcher and I are friends. So when he was fighting him, I saw a few of his fights.
Okay.
I don't remember a ton about him. And the other guy, I don't think I've ever seen fight, unfortunately.
Okay. All right, so then you got Kai Stewart versus Howard Davis at 145. Kai Stewart is the champion. He's from up there in Montana, and he won the championship his last fight. And Howard Davis, I think he's lost one and had a draw, but he's won all of his other ones. So, and his loss was due to a cut. So, and then he had a draw against Jimmy Rivera from the UFC. So,
that was who had the draw?
Howard Davis had a draw against Jimmy Rivera. Kai Stewart's won all of his fights,
but Howard Davis has been on like a win streak, right?
Oh yeah, I think he's won like 5.
Okay, yeah, I'm not super familiar again, but I think that
with these smaller guys, yeah. He's a black dude with the blonde hair, and like I said, 145. I mean, he's a great fighter. Like,
is he a Florida guy?
He's a Florida guy. Yep.
Is he the one that walks out flashing like gang signs and stuff?
I think that's one of them. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. I always thought that was a bad look on the promotion, but I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know either of them too well.
All right. Then this one you do know.
The worst guest you've had.
Yeah. So Christine Ferreira versus Beck Rollins for the 125-pound belt. It's a rematch of the Denver fight, yeah.
Yeah, and that got stopped because of a cut, right?
Correct. Yep. That got cut.
I was doing interviews, so I didn't really get to see how it was going up until that. But Christine Ferreira, she's tough, man. But I don't know. I'd like to see Beck win.
Sure.
I think even, with my fight with Lorenzo, Christine was like chirping in, trying to talk shit to me. And it's weird. Like, what am I supposed to say back to that? I mean,
yeah.
I'm not going to shit talk a woman or anything, but yeah, she's interesting, always wearing the sunglasses and stuff. I kind of root against people that wear sunglasses inside. So I'm going to go Beck Rollins because she's a sweet person, and I would love to see her be champion.
Cool. All right, and then the last big one that they announced was Jimmy Rivera versus Jeremy Stevens. So I had no idea that they had signed Jeremy Stevens. That kind of like caught everybody off guard.
Yeah, that one I like. Jeremy Stevens and I have trained together a little bit before. That guy's a killer, man.
Is he?
Oh God, he's got sledgehammers in both fists. He was one person that I actually would have said, before this, that I really want to see come to bare knuckle.
Perfect.
There's a list of guys from MMA that I'm like would be a star. I gotta go with Stevens on that. I've always been a fan of watching him fight because it's exciting. I saw him box a few times, on some of those like Pettis' card and maybe one other one, but I don't know if the boxing is fully for him. Like he did well, but you watch him fight with MMA gloves on, just being able to swing everything. I think he's bringing that same energy with bare knuckle. I think that kid's a brawler. I don't want to say kid; he might be older than me. That guy's a brawler.
Yeah,
and he's got mad power, and he's game to fight. Like he'll go out on his shield. So either way, it's going to be exciting. But I'm going to go with Stevens.
Cool. Yeah, Jimmy does have him on experience. Like I said, he's got 2 fights in there, a draw and a win. But yeah, I mean, like that one. That one's I'm actually probably super excited. Like that's one of the more excited fights. Do you plan on going over to Salt Lake City and watching the fights, or what's your plans?
I'm looking at it. Yeah, I've got a few sponsors out there that have invited me out, and if I could make it work, I would love to. Because Salt Lake City is not super far from us.
Sure.
Plus, we've got family there, so we can make it just a whole trip. So that would be a fun one.
Yeah.
Plus, I can't believe Salt Lake City honestly has sanctioned it over some other states that haven't yet.
Yeah.
Which is huge, and I think that that's awesome.
It is cool. And like I said, it's cool that it's going to be the pay-per-view card. So for those of you that don't know, you're going to have to purchase this fight. But I mean, like, 2 a year is not too bad, I suppose. So I don't know. It's going to be huge. I can't wait to see. I mean, so that's 6 fights, and they usually do 10 to 14 depending on the card. So it will be interesting to see who else they put on there. There's a couple other big names that I've heard, so we'll see. And then I've heard some big names that are looking at coming, and then it's like, we got Knucklemania coming up in February, so maybe they push those guys off 2 months and then they fight on that card. So
where is that at?
You're not supposed to say, but I heard it was a southern state. It's a really big southern state, but
was that Florida?
Not Texas.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I heard it's supposed to be Texas.
You got a podcast now. This is your chance to leak information if you know it.
I know. Yeah. No, we'll see. That's what I heard. I heard they're trying to get it lined up for Knucklemania. Will be Texas, hopefully. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've got as far as Salt Lake goes, there's a few guys I used to train with that I've heard are on the undercard, so that should be cool.
Okay, that's cool.
So I would like to see them, and I think it'd be a fun trip.
Yeah.
Obviously, every time I go watch, I'm jealous and want to be doing it, but it's still fun to go support and watch. And I think that BKFC is spreading into more and more states. They're blowing up.
Yeah.
And to anybody out there, I'm not even signed with BKFC right now.
I was going to ask you that if you're under a contract or not.
No, one fight deal. I've never seen a multi-fight contract come across, so we just keep doing one fight deals.
Is that because you've never asked for a multi-fight, or they've never pitched it? They just say, "Hey, we got a fight for you, like one fight," or kind of mutual, or?
Yeah, it could be both. I don't know.
Okay.
I like to leave the door open for options just in case something big comes. But
sure.
I will say this, because I saw last time they did the pay-per-view, a lot of people bitched about it having the app. I mean, if you think about it, so the reason I specified that is because so you don't think that I'm just like kissing the company ass. But the app is what, $7.99 or $10?
Yeah, $7.99.
That's not very much. And then 1 to 2 pay-per-views a year. That helps the promotion make money, but it also helps them pay the fighters to put together those big fights. So from a business standpoint, you got to understand it a little bit, and it's not that much. If you're a UFC fan, there's a pay-per-view every month. It's $70, so
right.
You're still coming out ahead,
right? Yeah,
I'm sure.
I think Dave said they're looking at putting over 60 events on next year. So $7.99 a month, and you get 58 of the 60 for the app price. It's worth it. It's definitely the best deal in combat sports at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, because the other ones you have to have an ESPN Plus account. Like UFC, you have to have ESPN Plus. Bellator, you have to have Showtime, and then still buy the pay-per-views. So
sure,
it's easy to bitch about it, but from a business standpoint, man, they got to make that money to put on these big fights. So I'm happy to support it, and I'll buy the pay-per-view if I don't go.
All right. So my last question for you is: do you remember your very first street fight? I know you've been punched in the head a lot, and you've had over 50 professional fights. You remember the very first time? I remember getting in a fight in first grade. That was my first street fight. But
I think real fight was probably 5th grade.
5th grade?
Yeah. Before that, there was ones that I thought that I was fighting, but yeah, it's hard to explain. I got my leg broken once because I saw 2. I was 5 at the time, and there was 2 kids in my neighborhood that were 13 fighting, but I thought they were wrestling or something. So I ran and I dogpiled on them, and yeah, so I wasn't exactly fighting. I thought that it was for fun. But yeah, probably 5th or 6th grade.
Do you remember the person's name? Do you remember anything about it or no?
Yeah, he was a former friend of mine. I'm trying to remember why.
It's funny
There
because
was,
you ask these people and people are like, oh, I still remember the guy's name. And you know what I mean? Like, it's amazing how like that stuff gets like in your head, you know, and years ago.
yeah, I still remember his name and everything, and I can't remember why. I something over something stupid, and I think I got pushed into him. It was like a forced kind of fight, and I remember I didn't get hit, but I ended up like closing his entire eye. I do remember this because my mom came to pick me up from school, saw me sitting there, and was like, "Are you gonna fight?" But I like never got
Yeah.
hit. And yeah, my parents were like, "Well, did you win?" And he said, well, "Yeah." And his eye was like completely shut. um, so that's kind of how our family is. I didn't get as much trouble because I won.
Got it. Got it.
That was the rule. If
Yeah.
you're gonna do it, win.
It makes sense to me. Well, I was going to say tonight's official, unofficial sponsor is Sheath. You had a podcast, and it's on hold for a while, I suppose. But you sent me this Sheath prize back and had a shirt and some underwear. Like the underwear, are fantastic. Shirt's super comfortable. So I wanted to support your podcast by wearing this, and hopefully we get you get a podcast going back again. Is there any of your official sponsors you want to thank, or anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the time. And Sheath underwear is great. I think I'm not wearing any, but I was wearing them earlier.
He's not wearing any underwear.
Yeah. I got this funny thing that I've been squeezing here the whole time. Knit 45. So
Sure.
they've come on board, and I've signed a long-term deal with them, and they've been great.
Awesome.
So if you're not familiar with them, you can check like my bios and stuff. I have a link to bio in there, which they track. So it looks good for me. So if you want to help me out, them Gallotech walls, half-face blades. We talked about the dog with the chompers.
Yeah.
Those are the coolest knives in the world. It's not just like they do a lot of custom work that is amazing. And I could take a whole podcast talking about what I saw in their shop, which blew my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of people that have supported me, and there's too many to thank, but those are the main ones that are really supporting me right now. So we'll leave it at that for now.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate your time, and thanks for everything. And thanks for being so active on the Reddit, dude. You're like the first guy. I mean, we've had other fighters jump in and they would say like one thing, but I mean, the fact that you like come on, you answer everybody's questions, and you're so open and like upfront about everything. We all appreciate it very much.
Oh, thanks. I'm a Reddit addict, so I used to print I think I've told you that before. I used to print the shirts for the MMA
Right.
subreddit through my business. And I think it was Joe Lozon and I were the first sponsored Reddit athletes ever.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been on there forever. So once I heard that there was a bare knuckles subreddit, I'm all about it.
Yeah. How would you suggest, like, what's the easiest way for fans to follow you? Like Instagram, or I know you're not a Facebook guy, so.
Yeah. Well, I need to, that's on my list of things to do, make a new Facebook account, because I got kicked off there for some reason. I don't even know why.
Yeah. Probably showing your bite marks on your testicles, probably.
Yeah. That's what it was. No, I mean, the last thing I posted on there was like a thing of me in a boxing ring by myself after training, and then got shut down for inciting violence. So I don't know what that's about.
Okay.
So I got to make a new one because they won't let me claim my athlete page, which is still up, but they won't let me log in. Yeah, Instagram would be the easiest. So that's the one I'm most active on, but I'm on Twitter. I even have an OnlyFans page.
Sweet. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and throw links for you up. And like I said, again, I appreciate your time. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, thank you. We'll do it again soon.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye.